St. Catharines, welcome back. It is good to be back. It has been a while. Mayor Matt Cisco here with a new episode of talkSTC. We are excited to be back after taking the summer off, a couple of extra months. I'm going to throw my Chief of Staff, Brianne Whitty, under the bus on this one. She wasn't feeling it, and I said, no, the people want to hear what's going on in St. Catharines. This is an important public service. And so we're back, and we are going to be going forward with a bunch of new episodes of talkSTC over the coming months. Lots have gone on over the course of this summer. We had a fantastic summer in the city of St. Catharines. We had the World Rowing Championships. We got to invite the world into our back rooms and into our homes in Port Dalhousie for the World Rowing Championships. Very, very successful. We renewed a whole bunch of parks across the city. We did Elma Street Park, we did St. Patrick's Park, we did Valley View Park, Lewis Avenue Park, Port Dalhousie Lions Park. Lots of new recreational facilities across the city for kids and families to be able to participate with. We had a bunch of really awesome provincial announcements. We were up at Ontario Shipyards for skills and development training funding from the provincial government. We were at 320 Geneva for the build that's going to go on there and money from the Municipal Affairs and Housing Ministry in Ontario. So very exciting for us. And we had another successful SCORE golf tournament. We raised over $125,000 that we're going to be able to give back to organizations across the city. And you may notice I've got the golf shirt on, the Niagara River Lions. Proud CEBL champions. They brought home the championship this past summer as well. Very fun to watch them as they filled the Meridian Center a whole bunch of times en route to their first championship. We also have a lot of stuff coming up. September's always a busy month. It's always a fantastic month. We know the Niagara Ice Dogs are going to be starting up in a couple more weeks. We actually had the St. Catharines Falcons getting started on Friday the 13th. I had the opportunity to drop the puck there as they embark on another Junior B season. There's a whole new slate of programming that's coming up to the First Ontario Performing Arts Centre. And it's September, it's St. Catharines. That means it's Grape and Wine time. And speaking of those fun events like Grape and Wine, my first two guests today are going to tell us all about the things that are happening in St. Catharines. We're going to start with Dorian Anderson, who's the Executive Director of the Niagara Grape and Wine Festival. And then we're going to be joined by Colleen Smith, who's the CEO of the First Ontario Performing Arts Centre, to talk about the great events that we have coming up in the 2024-25 season. But we will start with Dorian Anderson. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you.
It's good to have you back.
Thanks.
This is becoming a tradition every September.
It's becoming a tradition. I wear my purple jacket. It's kind of like the Masters of Grape and Wine.
You do a fantastic job of it.
Thanks. Executive
Director of Grape and Wine, we're into 7 years now?
Yeah, this September will be my 7th year.
But you've been doing the parade since you were 3, so that's at least 22 or 23 years.
Exactly, yeah, 100%.
Wonderful. You've been in wine, culinary, tourism, all of those areas for quite some time. That's your career?
Thank you for not mentioning the number of years, but yes, that's absolutely been my career. I've worked right all the way through Niagara, lots of different vineyard associations and tons of different events, so pretty lucky. It's a pretty fun job.
Awesome. So welcome.
Thanks.
Let's get right into it. The Fall Festival is going to look a little bit different this year.
It is.
Just a single weekend in Montebello. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have asked questions about that. Why don't you tell us what's the inspiration for the change?
So we obviously love grape and wine. We know our community loves grape and wine. And we always want to be reinventing things, taking a look and seeing what we can do a little bit better. So the one thing that always sort of stuck with me is Montebello Park looked pretty much the same the first weekend to the second weekend. And as someone that lives here, it's not as appealing to do the same thing weekend after weekend, not necessarily. Yep. So we thought this year we're going to change it up a little bit. So the parade weekend, which is sort of the sacred weekend for Niagara for grape and wine, we've supersized it. So we've added another a big concert on the Thursday night. And then the weekend previous to that, we thought we'd bring back some really fun, familiar favorite events. So we are bringing back Event in the Tent in partnership with Community Care.
So I got to tell you, bringing back Event in the Tent has been the talking point for people. So excited.
I know.
You've got Nick and the Nice Guys. Mm-hmm. After 20 years, you're bringing it back, Nick and the Nice Guys. How did it come about?
Honestly, it's something we've talked about every single year since I've been here because I am of the age demographic, and there is certainly a line that I remember. I remember Event in the Tent. That was grape and wine for me when I was growing up. And so it's one of those nostalgic things that everybody sort of over the age of 40 talks about every year. Why can't we bring it back? So when we decided to make this change in the programming, we thought that's kind of the perfect thing to bring back into the first weekend. So our first call, of course, was to Barry Katzman, who was the founder of Event in the Tent. We had a great chat with him, and he's super excited that it's coming back. So he's been sort of an honorary, chairperson or just helped guide the whole thing along, including reaching out to Nick and the Nice Guys. But we wanted to do it a little differently because we're grown up now and we're responsible.
Yeah, I mean,
Hopefully more responsible we were last time we were in that tent.
okay, so you don't have to be too, like, I mean, yeah, responsibility is important, but
Well, trust me, it's still going to be fun.
Okay.
But the responsible part is that now it's a fundraiser for community care.
Nice.
So we reached out to Betty Lou. We know that obviously community care is in need probably now more than ever. And we have been partnering with community care for years. So we wanted to come up with some different ways that we could raise some money. We thought Event in the Tent was the perfect way to do it.
okay, so, I mean, live music is a big part of Grape and Wine every year. You always try to have live local musicians, but you've added a Thursday night. I will say, like, you're going hard nostalgia for me on this one. Who's coming up on the Thursday night?
So the Thursday night, we have Crash Test Dummies.
Yep.
They're going to be on stage from 7 till 9, and then Kim Mitchell from 9 till 11. Pretty exciting.
That is phenomenal. I'm ridiculously excited about the Crash Test Dummies, which is probably not a statement I ever thought I would say out loud.
I know, right?
But I'm super excited for that. And Kim Mitchell is, I mean, he's kind of like the Tragically Hip in terms of like Canadian folk music. Like I think
he's an icon.
That's where he's at this point. So that's phenomenal.
Yeah, and actually one of the really cool things, they've been amazing to work with. I'm so excited to have them on the stage because we have amazing local talent, and we love to put that on the stage. But to have bands of that size, you know, rocking out Montebello is going to be pretty great. And they're also tied into the community care fundraiser. So $5 from every ticket from that show goes to community care as well.
That's, I mean, ultimately, there's nothing better than a community event, which is a whole lot of fun. But you also know that you're supporting an organization that really needs the help in the community. So, you know, well done, keeping that connection nice and strong. We have a parade, as always. And this is, I will say, in terms of social events on the St. Catharines calendar, the Grand Parade is something that I think everybody has circled. I was amazed. Last year was my first time getting to walk in it. And you and I, before we came on air, we were talking about what my outfit should look like this year. I went with, I tried to go a little Flava Flav last year. I went the purple tracksuit with the gold chucks.
I was a big fan. It was awesome.
I had the Chains of Office on, which I don't wear very often. I don't know if I can go that way. Point being, though, as I was walking, I was amazed by the number of people, like friends, family members, people that maybe I kind of realized were there, but some people I had no idea they go to the parade. It's just never been a talking point when we're chatting. And I feel like I saw everybody.
I know. It honestly, like you said, I think it's something circled on the calendar. It's like Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, Grape and Wine Grand Parade. Yeah. And I think it kind of is that anchor where people come, and that's why Parade Weekend is always so big in Montebello Park, is people plan to be at the parade. And you know, everyone has their traditions. They do their mimosa breakfast before the parade, or they, you know, have pancake breakfast. So it just sort of becomes the start of a very long day of grape and wine. But I mean, I have pictures of me when I was like 4 years old sitting on the curb on James Street waiting for the parade to come by. It's just part of who you are if you're from Niagara.
Yeah, and you see a lot of coffee tumblers that probably don't have coffee in them. And I
don't know anything about that.
Neither do I. It's shocking to me as well.
Shocking.
But, I will say we should, you're talking about social events we have circled on the calendar. We're just coming through September. We have to remember our friends in Meriton. Meriton Christmas happened Labor Day weekend, that parade as well. This is a little bit of a different tone, this parade. Do you guys, like, what's the sense of numbers when people are down for the Grand Parade? Like, how many people are in the downtown?
So it really ranges between, you know, 35 and 50,000 year to year. It's remarkable. And the St. Catharines Downtown Association used to have sort of counters in certain areas, and that's how you extrapolate those numbers. It's not a sheer guess. You can kind of actually do aerial photos as well. So the last time we did an official count, it was just shy of 50,000, which is remarkable.
It really is a staggering number of people. And I've tried to explain, there's a neighbor on my street. She just moved to St. Catharines. Well, I guess this will be her grape and wine. First grape and wine, she said. I said, you got to get down for the parade. Just know everybody's got their spot. Right? Like when I was taking my kids down for the parade, you know, before I became the mayor, we were Queen and Church.
Right.
Like that was our spot. We were on the same side of the street, same corner. We always sat in the same spot, you know, and you see the same guys walking by with popcorn and everything else. And I would buy donuts and coffees and all the rest of it. But everybody sort of got their own traditions. Like you said, the mimosas in the morning. It's a bit early for me, but okay. but it really is fantastic to see the whole community get out there.
Well, and it's fun. So Bill Schenk, who is really largely responsible for the World Rowing Championships, and his family, he used to be on our board of directors as well. So every year I see them incredibly early in the morning, right, very close to the Grape and Wine office. So that's sort of like one of my traditions now is I get to say hi to Kathleen and Bill and all their kids. And so you're right, everybody. I know where I can find about 20 different families along the parade route.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
No, it is. It's very, very awesome. So, you know, as we talk about Grape and Wine, it is a massive part of the calendar. But I mean, for the wineries and for the farmers, like, what does this event really mean?
Well, I think that for them, it's a really great way to connect the importance of the industry with the rest of the community.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the vineyards, if you're in downtown St. Catharines, you don't really see many of them. And I think it's really easy to forget that this industry that, you know, a lot of it's exported, a lot of it's sold other parts of the province or the country. They don't really realize how lucky we are to live in Niagara. So I think it's a way for all of us to, you know, reconnect with the growers, reconnect with the local wineries, and really to have people have an opportunity to taste over 100 wines in one spot. So I sort of describe Montebello Park as the ultimate tasting room. So we've got 25 different wineries there this year. They pick wines that they think people are going to like to drink every day. It's not one of those, it's not like a wine media tasting. They're finding wines that they're like, hey, if you're going to the LCBO or coming out to visit us, this is an affordable everyday wine that you can try. And just to sort of remind people that it's important to support these local communities. They're local businesses, locally owned, and we get to sort of high five these people that do amazing things for our region.
Yeah, and I love that aspect of it, and reminding ourselves, you know, like Niagara is known for its agricultural sector, and the wine sector has come so far over the last, you know, 50 years. To celebrate that and to remind ourselves that this is our backyard and we should be really thankful that this is here. I try to tell people all the time when it comes to, you know, agricultural processing and the wine industry, like this is industrial manufacturing as well.
Absolutely.
If you have a chance, get out to one of these operations. I'm lucky, Paul Speck over at Henry Appellum took me for a tour through their facility up there, and it's staggering to see the equipment and the workers, and it's, you know, very highly technical in a lot of ways, but they're making it work, and it's a net benefit to the entire regional economy that we have these folks here.
Well, it's agriculture and it's science. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, there's so much science behind it. But then you think even about trucking and all the tertiary, you know, industries that the wine industry supports. The economic impact of that sector in Niagara is huge.
Oh yeah.
And the fact it's beautiful. Like,
oh yeah.
You know, what kind of manufacturing jobs look like that?
Oh, I know. It's pretty impressive. So, I mean, getting back to the festival,
yes.
Is there a theme? Is there a theme for the parade this year? Like, what's our path there?
So we're just sticking with grape and wine time for the parade. We like the applicants love to sort of do the power of purple kind of thing as their theme.
Yeah.
The Pied Piper Parade, though, we do have some changes.
Okay.
So the Pied Piper Parade, because we're one supersized weekend, traditionally that would happen the weekend previously.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to end this year's festivities. So Sunday the 29th, the Pied Piper Parade is going to start in Montebello at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
We're calling it the Rainbow of Nations Parade because Sunday in the park is actually a celebration Sunday. We're celebrating the diverse cultures, we're celebrating families, and we're celebrating kids. So we're gonna have some really cool like reggae and soca bands and some Latin bands on stage, and then the Pied Piper Parade with the celebration of, or the Rainbow of Nations, which kind of ties into the Olympics.
Yeah.
They're gonna end up on the main stage around 4:20, and we're gonna have them do like a flash mob kind of dance with the Latin performers.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so we're giving the kids that are participating in the parade a little bit more, a little bit more main stage time this year, which I think is going to be super fun.
So the Grand Parade's on the 29th.
No, Grand Parade's the 28th.
28th, sorry. The Pied
Piper's
Parade's
the 29th.
The 29th. Well, I'm glad we clarified that.
We did. And we are kicking off this year, 5 o'clock, with the Mayor's Grape Stomp.
Oh, the Grape Stomp, yes.
So we're doing the concert on Thursday night, but Friday at 5 p.m. is when we're going to have the Mayor's Invitational Grape Stomp.
Yeah.
So everyone get there bright and early, right after work on Friday, because this year, again, our Mayor's going to stomp.
Yes, I'm going to stomp again. Although I did win Top Stomper last year. I feel like I should have retired after that.
And you just had finished a race, too, so you were pretty tired, and you showed up pretty well.
Yeah, I'm still pretty proud of that, and it probably won't go nearly as well for me this year. Okay, so we're going to close out quickly, though. What's your top memory from Grape and Wine? What's your favorite memory?
Ever in my life?
Yeah.
Getting to be on a float in the parade.
Okay. That's cool.
It's pretty awesome.
I will say, I was thinking about it before the interview today. My top is probably walking in the parade last year. It was just a very cool feeling. And as a politician, like, you get yelled at on a fair amount when you do these sorts of things. I was actually surprised at how little we got yelled at. It was mostly just happiness and joy. That's the way it is.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Dorian, thank you so much for coming in and visiting with us and telling us about the parade and the festival and everything that's going on.
Thanks. Can't wait to see you stomping.
Can't wait. Folks, we'll be right back in a moment with a little bit more Talk STC. Welcome back to Talk STC. My next guest is Colleen Smith. She is the CEO of the First Ontario Performing Arts Centre. Colleen, thank you for joining us again.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to be here.
Excellent.
Thanks for inviting me.
I just had the brainwave that this is actually the first episode of the third season. I hadn't thought about that, but how many times have you been on?
3.
This is your third time, so we got you in every season.
I'm always the first of the new, right?
Okay.
Was I your first guest? I
You
think
might
I
have been,
was.
yeah, you might have been my very first guest as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a fun tradition, and we'll make sure it keeps going.
Love it.
So we've done the bio before, but for those who haven't seen the previous episodes, arts leader, former musician, educator, executive leadership responsibilities of national, international teams. You have an MBA graduate. You're an MBA graduate from the Schulich School of Business. Did I say that right?
Schulich School of Business.
Okay, I got it.
At York.
You identify as a Prince Edward Islander. You're humbled and inspired by the artists and the art colleagues that you have met throughout your career.
Yeah, all across the country.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I really like the way that's phrased.
I love what I do, and it's all about the people, right? It's the
Yeah.
artists and the people that you work with, and I've been so lucky to be so many different places, and I'm super happy to be where I am right now.
Well, we're happy to have you in St. Catharines and Niagara and working diligently at the First Ontario Performing Arts Centre.
Always.
So, I mean, the fall season is here. We're rolling into the 24-25 season. What are the highlights?
Well, it's like back to school time for everybody, including all of us at the Performing Arts Centre. And we get kicked off this month with 2 really big artists, really big names, Feist and Rick Mercer, not at the same time, different shows.
That would be a weird show if they were on stage at the same time.
So we're really kicking off in style. And then later on this fall, we have something for everybody. We've got Tom Cochrane, we have the Fabulous Thunderbirds, we have Chantal Kraviazik, we have the Strumbellas, we have Musical Box. And so we've got a really great lineup of musicians, but then we have the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So we're doing 2 of those shows towards the end of October. And of course, it's fully immersive and interactive as Rocky Horror needs to be. And then we have other really unique offerings like the psychology of serial killers. So this is...
You're really diving into that whole true crime podcast realm.
Yeah, absolutely. So people are fascinated with this, and this is a show that's toured all throughout the States, and it's coming up into Canada now. And it's Dr. Rachel Tolles, and she talks about what is the psychology behind people who commit these mass murders and crimes, and what kind of person does this kind of thing, and how can you tell if there's a person who is has the ability to go down that dark hole. And so anyway, it's selling super well. People are really intrigued by this whole concept, and yeah, it's going to be a really neat show. And then we've got like a whole other end of the spectrum. We've got the Hot Sardines.
Yeah.
Have you heard of them before?
I have heard of them, yes.
So they sell out Carnegie Hall, and they sold out Kerner Hall last year in Toronto. And it's like classic New York jazz. And they're just the best of the best. And we have them coming up in October as well.
So I'm not going to lie, you're talking about jazz, you're talking about the psychology of serial killers, and I was sitting here going, Rick Mercer, right on. I'm a stand-up comedy guy, and I know I bug you every year, like stand-up comedy's where it's at.
Oh, so do you know who else we have?
Who?
Maria Bamford. So she played Tobias's girlfriend in Arrested Development.
Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, so she's coming to do a stand-up show.
Okay, well then, you've got me there probably for at least 2 events this year.
Fantastic.
And which is not to say I'm also a huge Strumbellas fan. Like, they're one of my favorite bands, so that's super exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's an exciting fall season. So the reaction so far from the community has been positive? I mean, it sounds if people are buying Hot Sardine tickets, I gotta think it's pretty good.
Oh yeah, so people have been really generous, as they often are in Niagara, and we really appeal to a broad range of people. It's not just St. Catharines, it's the Falls, it's Niagara-on-the-Lake, it's Fort Erie, it's all the places. So sales have been going really well. We're really grateful for that. And we're even selling out, I think one of our most popular shows is Gowan
Yep.
in 2025. And if you don't get your tickets now, it will be sold out within a matter of a month.
That's phenomenal. And I will say, given the fact that we own it and we deal with the budget and everything else, I love hearing that the tickets are selling like hotcakes. But this is one of those, I love to give credit where the credit is due, and the vision that was had by Mayor McMullen and Councillor Mark Elliott back in the day, really pushing to get this built, because I think the First Ontario Performing Arts Centre fills a niche in Niagara, not just St. Catharines, but Niagara. And it helps an arts community that I think was desperately looking for something local that could attract the kind of talent that you're attracting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're really grateful for the city and Brock
Yeah.
and visionaries like Peter Partridge Sr. That all came together to make the Performing Arts Centre possible. And we exist to serve community. That's our job. So we are programming for the people.
Yeah.
And if the people are coming, then we are doing our job.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you mentioned Peter Partridge Sr., a typical politician. I'm sitting here remembering the politicians that came before him. But I mean, Jack Lightstone up at Brock University, like there were a lot of people that were involved that made this project work. And it's great to see, we're getting on to, is it 10 years?
10 years in the fall of 2025.
Yeah, so this is, it's exciting that we're getting to that point, and we're seeing all of the acts that are coming through town, and the way the facility continues to be vibrant. Because I mean, I've been to the FOPAC a couple times in the last few weeks, and it's not just, I mean, generally always with an art theme, but going for celebrations of life, right? Norris Walker, and seeing the music played in his honor.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's become a gathering place for so many people in the community, and I think.
And that is a part of our, again, we exist to serve community. And we celebrate through the arts, but there are different reasons why we are celebrating or honoring. And we have everything from performances to film. We have seniors dance classes. With this year, we are providing every student at Brock University and Niagara College complimentary film house memberships.
Nice.
Just to get younger people in the building and to share the love of film with more people.
Okay, so Film House, I'm glad you touched on it, because I was going right there. You've got an entire week dedicated to Culture Days.
We do. So in the Film House, Culture Days happens across the country. It's an annual celebration of all things art and culture in every province.
Yep.
And so this year we've decided to dedicate a full week at the Film House with Pay What You Can performances. So October 8th to October 13th. It's whatever you can afford. You come on in, and we've got a whole variety of films that week for you to choose from. I feel like we're doing planes, trains, and automobiles. So we're going from classics to new contemporary documentaries, and some really smart films in between. So bring your family, bring your friends, come on down. And of course, the Film House is so beautiful. 200 seats, it's so comfortable. We have the bar open in front in the lounge, and we've got popcorn and hot dogs.
I will just say, you also have the best popcorn.
It's very good.
Coconut oil and the salt and everything, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It always cooked perfectly when I'm there.
It's addictive. Can you imagine going into work every day and smelling popcorn?
No, it actually terrifies me. I had that problem, as a high school teacher, we would have football games on Fridays, and they would get the popcorn maker going at 9:30 in the morning to have enough popcorn, and you could smell it in the school, and that was just one day a week, so I can't even imagine.
Almost every day.
I may have a bit of an issue when it comes to popcorn. Your East Coast Kitchen Party fundraiser.
Yes.
It's coming back to town, PEI edition this year. So you've decided to make it all about you. That's great. But it's featuring lobster, moonshine, and musicians from East Pointers and Vishton.
Yes.
Okay, tell me about this.
So this is our annual fundraiser, and we do this in order to support all the community work that we do, and all the access points that we have to allow people to experience the good stuff we have at the PAC. So this is a big fundraiser for us. We hope to raise over $100,000. Each year we've been doing a theme of a maritime province or an Atlantic province. So this year's province is PEI, and as you know, I'm from PEI, and I feel like it has to be authentic. So we have to have the real food, and we have to have the real music. Those are the two most important things for me. So we're actually going to have a chip truck with PEI potatoes on Carlisle Street and St. Paul prior to the event starting, so people can come, get your fresh PEI French fries, come on in, silent auction, live auction, and then our music, and of course we've got food that is authentic, maritime flavored food. And our act this year is a really special act where we've got 2 different bands coming together for this show. So the East Pointers are a really popular maritime Celtic group, and Vishtin is an Acadian group, also from PEI in the Magdalene Islands. So we've got 2 musicians from each group coming together to have this big kitchen party performance for us.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're talking a lot about potatoes. I'm going to assume, have you been to the Potato Museum in PEI?
No.
No?
I haven't. My dad was a potato farmer. I don't need to see the museum.
Okay, it was a phenomenal museum. Still one of the best that I've ever traveled to.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was fantastic.
What did you learn there?
I learned all about potato blight and other harmful things that can happen to potatoes. There was a lot about the Irish.
Yes.
I learned about soil types. I was 23 at the time. So
Wow.
it was a post-university. We decided to travel to the East Coast, me and a buddy of mine, and we stopped we spent a whole afternoon in the Potato Museum.
I've never heard that before.
Okay.
But I thank you for being there.
I'm just trying to support the local economy wherever I go. What can I say? So a lot of exciting times coming up at the Faux Pack. You've got your fundraisers, you've got your shows, you've got the film house doing all kinds of crazy stuff. If people want more information, where are they headed?
www.firstontariopac.ca, or check us out on Instagram or Facebook.
Perfect. So www.firstontariopac.ca.
You got it.
So check it out for all the fun stuff that's going on at the First Ontario Performing Arts Centre. Colleen, thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure. I'll see you this time next year.
Yes, you will definitely see me this time. Hopefully we run into each other between now and then, though. Maybe I'll get in for a show, or at the very least some st-up comedy.
Fantastic.
Excellent. We will be right back after this. St. Catharines, thank you so much for visiting us on another episode of talkSTC. I want to thank Dorian Anderson from the Niagara Grape and Wine Festival. I want to thank Colleen Smith from the First Ontario Performing Arts Centre for coming in, talking about all the amazing things that are going on in St. Catharines in the coming weeks and months. I hope to see you out at Niagara Grape and Wine. It's going to be a fantastic time in our community. Get out, support all the cool things that are happening as the kids get back to school. Try and find those fun events to do around the city, and we will see you next time on talkSTC.